Hello everyone, this is Dr. Khan, and today we will be discussing the anatomy of the anterior compartment of the thigh and the femoral triangle. The topics to be discussed in today's lecture, they are the muscles of the anterior compartment of the thigh, the femoral triangle, femoral sheath, femoral canal, femoral ring, and the femoral septum. Okay, as you already know, the thigh is a region situated in between the hip and the knee joint. Now the thigh is divided into three functional compartments that are the anterior compartment, the medial compartment, and the posterior compartment. This is just a functional division and not the true anatomical division. Okay, the anterior compartment, which is also known as the extensor compartment, because it consists of muscles which are responsible for the extension of the leg at the knee joint. Then the medial compartment, which is also known as the lateral compartment, and it includes the muscles which are responsible for the adduction of the thigh at the hip joint. And in posterior compartment, which is also known as the flexor compartment, because it is responsible for the flexor of the leg at the knee joint. Okay, if we take a cross section of the thigh, then starting from outside, the first layer that will be in our path, it is the skin, and then deep to a skin subcutaneous tissue. Okay, and the fascia of the thigh. Here in the middle, this is the bone of the thigh, the femur bone, and then from the posterior surface of the femur bone, these two intermuscular septa, they go and they attach to the inside of the deep fascia of the thigh. And these two septa, the medial and the lateral intermuscular septa, they divide the thigh into the fascial compartments. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is not a true anatomical division. The anterior compartment is situated in front of these two fascia, while the rest of the two compartments, they are situated behind this intermuscular fascia. Okay. The muscles of the anterior fascial compartments of the thigh, they are number one, the Sartorius muscle, this purple color muscle, S-shaped muscle, ribbon-shaped muscle. This is the Sartorius muscle. Then we have these two green muscles, the light green and the dark green muscles. These two are collectively called iliacus muscle, while individually they are two separate muscles. Okay, but because of their neighborhood, because of their action, and because of their same insertion, they are numerated as a single muscle, the iliopsoas muscle. Okay, this is the psoas muscle, the psoas major muscle, while this one arising from the iliac bone, this is the iliac muscle. Next, we have the pectineus muscle, this brownish color muscle. This is the pectineus muscle. And then in the last, we have quadriceps muscle. Quad means four. Okay, quad stands for four, and it is collection of four muscles, namely the rectus femoris and the three vasti, the vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, and the vastus lateralis. This one, the blue color on the lateral side of the thigh, this is the vastus lateralis muscle, and the brownish color muscle on the medial aspect of the thigh, the medial lower aspect of the thigh, this is the vastus medialis muscle, while this straight muscle, which is given yellow color in this diagram, this is the rectus femoris muscle, while the vastus intermedius muscle, it is supposed to be situated behind this rectus femoris muscle, and in between the vastus medialis and the vastus lateralis. Okay, it is hidden by these three muscles. So in short, in the thigh, anterior aspect of the thigh, we have number one, the Sartorius muscle, then the iliopsoas muscle, number three, the pectineus muscle, and number four, the quadriceps. Okay, four types of muscle. This is just the overview from Snell's anatomy by regions. As you can see, the Sartorius muscle, iliopsoas muscle, and the pectineus muscle, then the four quadriceps muscle. You can note that in quadriceps muscle, their nerve is the same, root value of the nerve is the same, and almost the action performed by all these muscles, they are also the same. Okay, that is to extend the leg at the knee joint. Okay, Their insertion is also the same. That is upon the quadriceps tendon into the patella and then via ligamentum patellae into the tubercle of the tibia. I will show you in a while in a diagram, okay? Let's discuss all these muscles one by one in detail. The first one, that is the iliopsoas muscle. This is the psoas major muscle, while this is the iliacus muscle. The psoas muscle, it takes its origin from the 12th thoracic vertebral body, L1, L2, L3, and L4, and their intervertebral discs, okay? It takes its origin from this side, and then it is inserted lower down on the lesser trochanter of the femur. While the iliacus muscle, it is taking its origin from the iliac fossa, okay? This is the iliac bone, and on the medial aspect of the iliac bone, there is a fossa known as the iliac fossa, and iliacus muscle arises from this fossa, and then it is inserted along with the psoas major muscle on the lesser trochanter of the femur. And from its action, you can imagine that if these two muscles contract, it will cause decrease in angle between the trunk and the thigh. Like in performing exercises for decreasing the belly fat or abs exercise, which is performed by different muscles, but one of the main muscle that has role in acquiring these positions and in performing this exercise, that is the iliopsoas muscle, okay? The action of the iliopsoas muscle, that is to flex the thigh upon the trunk when the trunk is fixed. But if the thigh and the legs are fixed, then if this muscle contract, it will cause the flexion of the trunk upon the thigh. So in short, we can see that the muscle, the action of this iliopsoas muscle, that is to flex the thigh upon the trunk or to flex the trunk upon the thigh. Next is the pectineus muscle. It takes its origin from the superior ramus of the pubis, while it is inserted on pectineal line. Okay, this is the line which is just below this lesser trochanter of the femur, and it is supplied by femoral nerve, like the rest of the muscles of the anterior compartment of the thigh. The main nerve responsible for the innervation of almost all the muscles of the anterior compartment of the thigh, that is the femoral nerve, okay? And its action is to flex the thigh and adduct the thigh at the hip joint. Next muscle is the Sartorius muscle. It is a very tricky muscle, and I will tell you in a while why it is so much tricky. It takes its origin from the anterior superior iliac spine, which is a bony prominence on the anterior aspect of the hip bone. This is the anterior superior spine. Then in S-shaped manner, it is twisted around the thigh and is inserted on the upper and medial part of the tibia, okay? So it traverses two joints, the hip joint and the knee joint, okay? Two joints are traversed and it will act across these two joints. So it is tricky because number one, it will act upon two joints, and number two, its origin is from the lateral aspect of the body while it is inserted upon the medial aspect of the body, okay? So it will have two different sorts of action across these two joints. At hip joint, it will cause the flexion, abduction, and lateral rotation of the thigh. What will it do to the thigh is that it will flex the thigh, it will abduct the thigh, and it will rotate the thigh in lateral direction, okay? It will rotate the thigh in outward or in lateral direction. While at knee joint, it will cause flexion of the knee joint to decrease the angle between the femur and the tibia. Then it will cause rotation of the leg in medial direction. It will rotate the leg in medial direction, okay, at the knee joint. In this cross section of the thigh, you can see this is the position occupied by the Sartorius muscle. The next Muscle group is the quadriceps femoris muscle, which are powerful extensors of the knee joint. The first muscle in this group is the rectus femoris muscle, and it is the anterior-most muscle among the quadriceps muscles, and it is the only muscle among the quadriceps that is attached to the hip joint. Okay, here you can see this is the hip joint. This is the hip joint from which it is arising. It has got two heads. One is a straight head. This is a straight head, while another one is a reflected head, which is lying behind the straight head, and is not that much clear in this diagram, but it has got two heads. One is a straight head, which takes origin from anterior inferior iliac spine. This is the anterior superior iliac spine, while here it is the anterior inferior iliac spine, and it is taking its origin from the inferior iliac spine, while the other head, the reflected head, it is arising from just above the acetabulum, okay, from this part. Now, point of noted is that all the quadriceps muscles, they insert upon a common tendon. Okay, they insert on the patella through a common tendon, this tendon, which is known as the patellar tendon or the quadriceps tendon of the patella. This is the position occupied by the rectus femoris muscle in the thigh. Next is the vastus medialis muscle. As the name indicates, it arises from the shaft of the femur, basically from the medial aspect of the femur, from the linea aspera and the medial supracondylar ridge. Okay, and then it wraps itself around the femur bone to come forward anteriorly, and then its tendon is inserted with the other quadriceps muscle upon the patella. This is the vastus medialis muscle inserting upon this patella. Okay, and this is the position occupied by the vastus medialis muscle in the thigh. Then vastus lateralis muscle, it arises from the linea aspera above and the lateral supracondylar ridge below, and it wraps itself around the femur on the lateral aspect of the femur to come forward, and then it is inserted upon the patella through quadriceps tendon. This is the position occupied by vastus lateralis muscle in the cross section of the thigh. Next is the vastus intermedius muscle. It is a deeply placed muscle arising from the anterior and lateral surfaces of the femur. Okay, anterior and lateral surfaces of the femur, and then its fibers, they are inserted upon the patella with the rest of the quadriceps muscle on the patella. This is the deeper muscle among the muscles of the anterior compartment, and this is the vastus intermedius muscle. Here you can see this is the patella, this is the quadriceps tendon, the common tendon for the insertion of all the four quadriceps femoris muscle. This is the vastus, this is the rectus femoris muscle, this is the vastus lateralis, this is the vastus medialis, while this is the vastus intermedius muscle. All these muscles, they converge to be inserted through a single tendon, the quadriceps tendon, on the patella. Okay, then there is a tendon, another tendon, the patellar tendon, which connects the patella with the tibial tuberosity. Here in this diagram, they have called it the patellar tendon, but a more specific name for this band should be ligamentum patellae. Okay, as we know that ligament is that type of connective tissue which connects two bones with one another, so it can be correctly called as ligamentum patellae. This is the quadriceps tendon, while this is the ligamentum patellae. So we can see that the quadriceps femoris muscle, they are attached directly to the patella via the quadriceps tendon, and they are indirectly attached to the tibial tuberosity through the patella and the ligamentum patellae. In short, all the muscles of the anterior compartment of the thigh, they are innervated by the femoral nerve, except the psoas muscle, psoas major muscle. The psoas major muscle, it is innervated by direct branches from the lumbar plexus. Okay, all the rest of the muscles, they are innervated by the femoral nerve, and all these muscles, they are supplied by the femoral artery. So we can say that the artery of the anterior compartment of the thigh is the femoral artery, while the nerve of the anterior compartment of the thigh is the femoral nerve. Then iliopsoas and the rectus femoris muscle, as they arise from bones above the hip joint, so they will be acting across the hip joint only, and their action is to flex the trunk upon the thigh or to flex the thigh upon the trunk. Then we have said that the quadriceps muscle, they have common insertion, and their action is to extend the leg at the knee joint. Then Sartorius muscle, which was the tricky muscle, it flexes, abducts, and laterally rotates the thigh at the hip joint, while it flexes, adducts, and medially rotates the leg at the knee joint. So it has got different actions on the hip and the knee joint. Now, we proceed towards an important topic, that is the femoral triangle. It is important from exam point of view in different boards and university exams. The femoral triangle, which is also known as carpus triangle, it is an anatomical region in the upper third of the thigh. It is subfacial space which appears as triangular depression below the inguinal ligament. Okay. And it is more prominent when the thigh is in specific position, that is slightly flexed, abducted, and laterally rotated. Here you can see, this is the anterior superior iliac spine, this is the symphysis pubis, and this is the ligament connecting the symphysis pubis with the anterior superior iliac spine. This is known as the inguinal ligament, one of the most important ligament in the body, the inguinal ligament. And below this inguinal ligament, in between the muscles, there is a triangular area, a potential space, and this is known as the femoral triangle. Okay, it is situated in the upper third of the thigh. Now, its superior border, it is formed by the inguinal ligament itself. Its lateral border is formed by the sartorius muscle. This one, the sartorius muscle, forms its lateral border, while its medial boundary is formed by the adductor longus muscle. Okay, one of the muscle of the adductor compartment. Now, the floor of the muscles, the floor of the triangle, it is formed by muscles starting from lateral to medial. This is the iliacus muscle, then the psoas muscle, then the pectinius muscle, and then the adductor longus muscle. You can memorize by the mnemonic IPL. Okay, IPL. Then the roof is formed by skin, and then deep to skin there is another layer which is known as the fascia of the thigh. So we have got a roof, floor, and three borders. Then it has got some important structures residing within this triangle, and they are starting from lateral to medial: the femoral nerve with its branches, the femoral artery with its branches, femoral vein with its tributaries, and deep inguinal lymph nodes and lymphatics. Okay, so this is the femoral nerve, and these are the branches of femoral nerve. This is the femoral artery, this is the femoral vein, and these are 1, 2, and 3. These three are the deep inguinal lymph nodes, and these are the lymphatics. Okay. Here you can see that there is a facial sheath-like structure, an envelope which wraps around the artery, the vein, and the lymphatics. Okay, these three structures, they are wrapped in a special sheath-like structure. This sheath-like structure is known as the femoral sheath. Okay, so we can correctly say that the contents of the femoral triangle are femoral sheath with its contents plus the femoral nerve. Femoral nerve is situated outside the femoral sheath. Okay, this is the femoral sheath. These three, 1, 2, and 3, the red, blue, and green, these three are the contents of the femoral sheath, while the femoral nerve, this is the lateralmost structure in the femoral triangle, and it is present outside the femoral sheath. To memorize the contents and the relation with respect to each other, navigate mnemonic can be used. Okay, N for nerve, A for artery, V for vein, and I for inguinal lymph nodes and the lymphatics, starting from lateral to medial. Okay, this is the cadaver, and in cadaver you can see this is the femoral nerve, this is the femoral artery, and then the vein. This is the vein, and somewhat you can differentiate the lymphatics. They can also be seen lymphatics and the lymph nodes. Femoral sheath. It is basically a downward protrusion into the thigh of the fascial envelope lining the abdominal wall. This is basically the inside view of abdominal cavity. Here you can see these are the abdominal wall muscles, and this is the fascial covering of these muscles, which protrudes into the thigh and forms a sheath known as the femoral sheath. The posterior wall of this sheath, it is continuous above with the fascia iliaca. This is the iliac muscle. This is the iliacus muscle, and the fascia over it is the fascia iliaca. While the anterior wall is continuous above with the fascia transversalis. This is the transversus abdominis muscle, and this is the transversalis fascia, and this forms the anterior wall of the sheath. Now the femoral sheath has got 3 compartments: 1, 2, and 3. The lateralmost compartment is where the femoral artery resides. Then in the intermediate compartment, femoral vein is present, and in the medialmost compartment, which is also known as the femoral canal, there resides the deep inguinal lymph nodes and the lymphatics. Okay, so we have got 3 fascial compartments: the lateral, the medial, and the intermediate compartment of the femoral sheath, and the medialmost compartment is also known as the femoral canal. This is the superior view. This is the lateral compartment, which contains the femoral artery. Intermediate compartment contains the femoral vein, and the medial compartment contains the lymphatics. Already discussed. Medial compartment also known as the femoral canal. Now, femoral ring, it is the upper margin of the femoral canal. Okay, femoral canal. This is the femoral canal. This one, the medialmost compartment, and the upper margin of this canal. This one, the upper margin. This is the femoral ring. Okay, and then there is a septum over this ring, which is known as the femoral sheath. Okay. Okay, so the medial compartment, it is also known as the femoral canal. It is about 0.5 inch long. Femoral ring, it is nothing else but the upper margin of the femoral canal. Femoral septum is the covering of the femoral ring. Femoral ring contains fatty connective tissue, which is just for filling the space, efferent vessels from deep inguinal lymph nodes, and one of the 3 deep inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, so it has got lymphatics with some fatty tissue. Now, this is the last slide, and it shows us the boundaries of the femoral ring. This yellow color, this is the femoral canal. This is the femoral canal, and it is the upper margin of the femoral canal known as the femoral ring. And anterior to the femoral ring, given in green, this is the inguinal ligament. So the anterior boundary of the femoral ring, it is formed by the femoral the inguinal ligament. The posterior boundary is formed by the pectineus. Okay, this is the pectineal line, the part of the pubic bone. The medial boundary is formed by a ligament which is moon-shaped, half moon-shaped, hence called the lacunar ligament. And in lateral part of this ring is present the inguinal, the femoral vein. Okay, this is the end of the slideshow. If you have got any queries, you can freely ask in the comment section below. Thank you very much.